5-minute #1 blog in the universe, man. Today, I got the special opportunity to sit down with one of the greatest hip-hop acts of all time coming out of Denver, Kid G from Pure Devocion.
Thank you, man. Good, I appreciate that. Yep.
Yes, sir. No problem, man. I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that we finally got it worked out to where we can do this, so, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've been planning it the whole year.
Yeah, it does feel that way. It does feel that way.
Right.
Thanks for working with me and figuring everything out, so, yeah.
No, this is dope. Usually have my studio, but I always like to branch out and do something unique and different. And I feel like this is going to have more of an impact on the culture, and, it's just going to be a lot more special, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate my boy TJ for letting us do it here at his studio at the, TJ Scissorhand Design Studio. In my opinion, this is one of the best shops in the whole state. And I also, I wanted to do it here just because I think this might be something that you can kind of branch out to as well with all these dope ass barbershops that are doing stuff, you know what I mean? Because there's some really, really serious talent out here in Colorado when it comes to haircutting. And I mean, these dudes are more like artists, you know what I mean? So I think that that's really dope. And that's another reason why I wanted to have it here too.
No, it is dope. It's a good vibes. It's that classic barbershop conversation.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Okay, well, let's get right into it. So originally from West Denver?
Yep, born in Denver General. I think it's Denver Health or something like that now, but yep, Denver General. I've lived all over Colorado. I was born in West Denver. I've lived in the north side. I've lived in Arvada, Westminster, Montbello, Wiggins, Colorado. So I've actually been all over, but West Denver is mainly where I've lived most of my life. Right,
so. Okay. When you say Denver Health, Denver General, is that the hospital on the west side? Or?
Yep, right there. Yep, right off 6. Yep.
6th.
So, what is it? 6th and Santa Fe, I believe it. Or was it Santa Fe? Bannock. I think it's Bannock. I know right there.
Right in the west side, though.
Right in the west side. Yeah. So.
Okay. What was your childhood like growing up over in West Denver?
I mean, it wasn't easy, that's for sure. You know what I mean? So, obviously I'm light-skinned. I've always been. I never was good enough for this group of people, never good enough for that group of people, so I've always had to kind of make my own way. But I think that kind of helped me in the long run of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just like a lot of kids growing up in the 80s and 90s, we fought a lot, and, there was a lot of stuff like that going on, but I just feel like it just made me the man who I am, so,
When you say light skin, what is your ethnicity?
So my Portuguese and Mexican. Okay. So Portuguese, Mexican. I didn't even know I was Portuguese. I thought I was Mexican my whole life, honestly. Just a light-skinned Mexican. So come to find out that some of my family came from Portuguese. Okay. Or from Portugal, should I say. Yeah. So some of my family came from Portugal.
That's in Europe, right?
It's by Spain.
Spain.
Yeah, so it's right by Spain, so Europe. So, but yeah, so Portugal, and then, my stepdad is Mexican. And I was raised by him, which is where I get the Garcia from. Right. So, my whole life I thought I was, I thought I was Mexican for real the whole time. But I still feel that way. I mean, I don't really, I've never been to Portugal. I don't really know, any of people from there or anything like that. But, I have pride that my family did come from there. Yeah. But I'm also proud of being Chicano. Right. So if anything, if there's any race or anything like that, I'm Chicano is that's what I would say I would.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you were your parents from Colorado too as well, or were they born outside of Colorado?
Yeah. So my mom was from New Mexico and moved up here, and then my dad was from Pueblo, Colorado, and then they both kind of came out here to Denver.
New Mexico and Pueblo.
Yeah.
You be going down there a lot still, or no?
I haven't been to New Mexico in quite some time. I love it out there. It's beautiful out there. I still have family out there, and I love to go out there. Pueblo, I just went out there not too long ago. We did a show out there.
Oh, yeah.
So that at the Steel City Car Show. So that was fun. Everybody showed love. It was nice. DGR, Doogie, and me, we all three went out there, and LOC and Amber, all of us went out there and did a real good show. So yeah, it was dope.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, I guess you grew up here, so I was gonna ask more about Pueblo, but talk about life growing up as far as school and stuff like that, like middle school, high school, what schools you went to.
So I actually, I didn't do too well in school. I was, again, during that time, like I was fighting a lot and getting in a lot of trouble. I would say I was kind of lost as a teenager, you know, trying to figure life out. So I was constantly getting kicked out of school. I went to a bunch of different schools. But yeah, I mean, one of my favorite schools that I went to was probably, it's called Betcher High School Redirection. I think it was like on 17th and Downing. Me and my brother used to catch the bus from the west side down over there to the east side. But I just liked that school because of the way they treated us. You know, it made me want to learn. It made me want to go to school. They treated you like an adult. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like these teachers that were honest all the time. I mean, if I wanted to get up and go get some water or whatever, I could do that. So I appreciated that school. Probably one of my favorite schools I went to as well was probably Thompson Elementary. That was when I was a little kid. Because I moved from Montbello, where I was fighting every day. I moved to Arvada for a while, and I was going to Thompson. And one of my favorite teachers, Miss Ives, you know, she actually was one that was really, how can I say this? She was just a great person, a great teacher. She made me want to do good, like kind of like that other school, you know, when I was a little bit older. But Miss Ives, she was just dope, man. You know, one memory that always stands out to me is that there was this kid, you know, and I had just moved there, you know, so I moved from Montbello, and that's kind of where, you know, that's where I learned how to rap, and all that stuff was in Montbello. So I'm coming over there, you know, I'm listening to Run DMC and like all the hip hop stuff, and all them kids, they're all listening to like you know, rock and
Linkin
stuff
Park.
like that. No, that was way before Linkin Rock.
Metallica, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like Metallica and all that type of stuff. You know, like they're making fun of me because I'm listening to hip hop, and I'm making fun of them because I'm like, y'all listening to some dudes in tights, like, but I don't know, you know what I mean? So I was fighting, you know, anyway, there was this one kid that was just trying to pick on me. He didn't understand that I wasn't that kid to get picked on. But I was trying to do good in school, and but he just pushed me to his limit. I ended up, you know, hitting him, and he ended up getting hurt. But when the point I wanted to make was Miss Ives actually, you know, stood up for me. You know, she went into the principal's office, was like, this kid was talking stuff to Leonard, just instigating, pushing him, to the point where, like, if I was Leonard, I would have hit him too, type stuff. So, but that, I just always remembered that, and it always stood with me, just that she stood up for me like that, you know, so I appreciated that. But it's, like I said, man, school, I really didn't do too well in school. I really didn't. Because from there, when I became a teenager, when I started going to like middle school and high school, that's when I started gang banging. So I wasn't focused on school at all, unfortunately. You know, so you bring up obviously West Denver, Arvada, and Montbello. Can you talk about like the years that you moved from, like how old you were when you moved from West Denver to Montbello, and then how, when you went to Arvada, and just what led into those moves? Well, my family we moved a lot. We moved around a lot. My dad was getting different jobs and stuff like that, and so we moved a lot. As a kid, I didn't like it. You know, I hated moving, leaving my friends and this and that. You know, be upset every time we moved. But honestly, now that I'm older, I appreciate it because I met so many people. I met so many people, and I think that actually helped me a lot too with my music career, because I met so many people. A lot of people already knew me in the streets way before they knew me on doing the music. So I think that helped me a lot. But Montbello, I think I moved to Montbello. I think I was out there in like the 3rd and 4th grade. Played for the Montbello Falcons. So my team, we went and won our little championship, so that was fun. But yeah, Montbello was, I didn't want to move out there. You know, I really didn't want to move out there. When I did move out there though, I fell in love with it. You know, it was just a different way of life. Different culture, obviously a culture shock for me for sure, you know, because back then it's not like it was now. Back then, you know, it was more black people than there was Mexican people, and even the Mexican kids, like I said, you know, they didn't necessarily really mess with me because I was light-skinned, you know. So, but so I'll be fighting all the time out there too. But my best friend Corey Williams, he lived right across the street, so he had my back. He taught me a lot. He's actually the one that taught me how to rap. So yeah, we was either outside, you know, break dancing. This is in the beginning, bro. This is way back in the day, because like I'm older. But yeah, I mean, this is when we started breakdancing, and we were out there playing football or whatever. But Corey he was a really big influence on me, you know what I mean? So he let me wear his Montbello Warriors jersey to school, you know what I mean? Kids would be like, how'd you get that jersey and stuff? So,
that's when they I think went to state against Pomona too, back in like '88 or something.
It was some, I don't really remember.
Maybe not the same time, but
yeah,
like I just remember seeing that banner and stuff.
Yeah, I don't really remember too much about what they did, but no, but it's all good. But no, man, I loved Corey. You know, that was my best friend, man. You know, and I think we got along so well because, you know, we kind of, his dad was black, his mom was white. You know what I mean? So it was the same thing for him. You know,
couldn't fit in.
Yeah, he couldn't fit in. Neither one of us can fit in. You know what I mean? And I think that's why we kind of became as close as we was together. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you know, he passed away when I was 13. Now that was real hard on me, but you know, he's definitely been somebody who left an imprint on me for sure. You know,
So when it comes to that time period, was, you know, you bring up how Montbello was a lot more African American at that time.
Right.
Was there any sort of tension between like Latin and African American folks?
Nah.
Compared to maybe LA, or is it?
No.
Because I feel like it's never been like that here. Was it still pretty chill between at that time?
No, not at all. It was just, for me, it's a culture shock because, you know, I'm coming from West Denver. And you didn't talk about people's moms. You know what I mean? You weren't clown there. We didn't know about clowning back then like that.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Montbello and they were like, your mama this or that. And I'm like, what? You know, and then we start fighting. So it was just more of a culture shock. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For more than anything. But no, I mean, you know, I ended up meeting a lot of good people from out there. You know, it was just, it was just you were young, and, you know, back then everybody was just, it was harder because everybody wanted to fight. Everybody was about throwing hands back then, you know. Now I feel like it's not that way. You know, everybody wants to pull out guns and stuff, but, you know, back then we fought a lot. I definitely fought a lot.
Yeah.
Nothing that I'm proud of. I wish I didn't have to. I wish if I was smart, I would have just, you know, went to school and did everything right way, but, you know.
And then you moved to Arvada after a couple years in Montbello?
Yep. So we moved to Arvada, and then from Arvada we moved back to the west side.
So what was that time period like? What happened?
Arvada. So Arvada, it was a really good time for me because that's where I met some of my closest friends. My brother Vinny, Andy, Ryan, and Tony, and, you know, there was like a little crew of us. And so them were some lifelong friends of mine. And so in that sense, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, was moving out there, because I met some of my closest friends. But it just, you know, I was just a lot different than folks from there. Like I said, I'm coming from, you know, Montbello at that time, and all, there were like a lot of rocker kids and stuff like that. So I really didn't get along with too many people. I made friends and stuff like that, but it just,
what was it like near Old Town? Like,
no, I lived on no, we didn't have money like that, bro. I lived in basically the Arvada projects, I guess you could say. It was called, it was on 79th and Sheridan. It was called the Glendale.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, now they call Castlegate the Arvada project.
Is it that project?
That's what they would say. That's where I lived for my high school years.
Oh, for real?
That's why I was asking.
No, yeah, it was called Glendale. But that was the best thing, though, was meeting my close friends like that out there. That's really the only good thing I got to say about that time of living over there.
Okay, so. And then you moved back to West Denver? Then we
moved back to West Denver off of 14th and Raleigh.
What was that, like high school, middle school?
I was in the 9th grade.
So did you go to Westy when you lived in Arvada, and then you moved?
No, so I moved down to the west side, and I tried to go to West.
Okay.
So, but they wouldn't let me go to West because I lived on the north side of 14th versus the south side of 14th.
Oh. Okay.
So they wanted me to go to north, and by that time we was already fine. I'm like, I ain't going to north. So then the only other option was for me to go to Westy. So then I went to Westy for about.
The old Westy.
The old Westy, before it was rebuilt. Yeah, that's right. But I went there for about 2 or 3 months. I ended up getting kicked out of there too. You know, I ended up fighting. I got in a fight with a couple dudes over there, and they kicked me out because they said that I punched both of them first. So even though they jumped me, because I hit both of them first, I got kicked out of there. So
did you? did you drop out? Did you graduate? GED?
Nah, yeah. So I ended up, man. Like I said, during that whole school area, for me, or that era was, I was a gang member, man.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it, but I was a gang member. I was in the streets. I dropped out of school. I was gang banging, running around with my friends, and just getting into nothing good.
So college, you didn't think about college or nothing?
Honestly, I didn't even think I was going to be here past 17. That was kind of even my excuse for putting in work and doing the things I was doing. Was like, man, hand me that. I'll do it. I ain't going to be here past 17 anyway. And it was just, I don't know why I felt that way. It was just something that was in my mind. I didn't think I was going to live past 17. And so, yeah, I was just running wild. I wasn't thinking about school or anything like that. And then I actually ended up getting shot the first time when I was 17. And I was like, I told you, I'm gonna die. And I didn't die. And it actually just kind of made me worse because then I'm like, oh man, I got shot and I didn't die. So, then I kind of got even more brazen, a little bit more wild.
Yeah.
And then a year after that, my brother was murdered. And then that really pushed me over the edge. Yeah, for me, there was no turning back. There was nothing about school. For me, it was just, honestly, I thought either I was going to die or I was going to end up getting caught and being in prison or something like that. So yeah, school was never my thing.
What do you think was the root cause of you being such a hothead at that time and getting into the stuff you were getting into?
Well, that's back then. That's when gangs first started coming out. I mean, there was in LA and all that stuff, but out here it was started really, really taking a stronghold on the city of all the kids in the city. And for me, it was just I don't know what it was, man. I was just kind of infatuated with that life. I was already fighting and doing this and that, so I already kind of had a temper on me. Like I said, I started hanging around some of these kids that, and I realized there wasn't, anything for me. I tried to do good, when I did go to Westie, I was trying to do good. And then, these kids kind of kept messing with me. And then, I got kicked out of there. And my brother Vinny, was one of my best friends. I call him my brother, but we're best friends, which is one of the people that I met in Arvada.
Yeah.
But he was just getting jumped all the time, man. You know what I'm saying? These kids from the other side just kept jumping him every time they seen him. And, he got to the point to where he thought that they were going to kill him. They're like, they're going to kill me next time. I don't know what, So he decided to get into a gang. And that's when we met all the West Side AKs, and he got put on the set. And I was like, don't do it, blah blah blah. But then once he did it, then I was just like, man, well, I'm gonna do it too, then, because you're not gonna take this ride alone.
Yeah. So
I decided to join a gang, and even though I got some close brothers from that, most of my homies are dead for real. Most of them are dead. Not too many of them, are in prison. A lot of them went to prison, but we don't have a stronghold in prison or anything like that. A lot of my homies are just gone. I got probably a handful of AKs that I still talk to. A lot of my brothers are gone, and that's it's a regret of mine that I was, a gang member, and I was causing so much havoc in the city and just doing so much grimy shit. You know what I mean? But I do got some brothers that we honestly got a lifelong bond. So out of that, but yeah, I don't glorify gangs at all. I really wish that I would have stood in school and graduated and went to college and made all the right choices.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I would be so much better off now. So that's what I'm trying to do, is raise my kids in a different way. Like, my kids aren't gang banging and this and that.
That's good.
Now, I'm not, I wouldn't stand for that at all.
Right.
So I'm trying to definitely show them a better way. And even just doing this interview, like, I don't want anybody out there to think like gangs are cool or any of that, because it's not, man.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah. But I'm just saying,
we're not glorifying it yet.
No, not at all, man. Like, there's,
you're just telling your story.
I'm just telling.
That's all it is.
Right.
You recommend that no one get involved with that stuff for sure. That's why I always put in all my caption descriptions.
Yeah, no, man, I definitely don't want any kids thinking that it's cool, because it's not. You know, like I said, I've lost so many friends. Not even just from my neighborhood. Like I know people, like I said, I've lived all over. I met so many people. And I'm talking about people just that were in different gangs that I just knew that were killed or whatever, you know. So no, man, like I just, if I could say anything to the youth, would be to go to school, do what you got to do, listen to your parents, be respectful, be kind, you know, show love, you know what I mean? Be kind to everyone. Just be really picky about who you choose as your friends.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
were your parents, like, what was their opinion on what you were going through during this time period? And did they know what you were doing, or like, what was their thoughts on all of this? Or were they kind of just busy working? Like, what was going on?
So I didn't have to gangbang, bro. You know, like a lot of kids came up where like they were just kind of like forced into that way of life. They didn't have no other choice. I had a choice. My parents were good parents. They raised me the right way. They did the best that they could for me. I made a decision to go out there in them streets and act a fool. You know what I mean? But no, but with that being said, my parents, this is just how good people they were to me. That no matter what I did, it didn't matter what I did, they loved me anyway. And they were supportive no matter what it was. Gangs were kind of new, so they didn't realize, you know, all the stuff that was really going on when I left the house. You know what I mean? You know, I think probably the first time my mom got a real, you know, eye-opening situation, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say. The first time my mom really realized what was going on is
serious, or?
Yeah, she found a pair of my shoes that I was soaking in the sink because they were full of blood, and she was like, you know, what? I'm like, it's not mine, you know. And she was like, well, what, you know? So that was probably the first time that she like talked to my dad, and it was like, my dad comes to talk to me, he's like, what are you guys doing? What's happening? And, you know, so, but, you know, they were always just supportive of me, man. Like, you know, even like my homies can come to my house or whatever. Like they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. They knew that they couldn't stop me because they knew I wasn't going to listen. I was way too far past, you know, listening to any of that stuff. And, you know, when my dad did try to discipline me, he was like, well, you're going to have to get a job, or, you know, you're going to have to leave if you're not going to be working. And I'm like, well, I got money. I don't know why I got to get a job. And, you know, he's like, well, you're going to have to go if you're not going to get a job. So I left the house when I was 15. I've moved back in, you know, here and there with them, but for real, I've been like on my own since I was 15. So, I mean, well, with the homies, you know, we living at this homie's house, and we'd be doing this, but yeah, it was a long road back then for sure. Yeah. But I'm definitely grateful that my parents were the people and the type of people that they were, because they did show me the right way. And eventually having that support of my parents is when I did make that change, they were the reason why, you know what I mean?
So, and then you brought up that the first time you were shot, you were 17. Yeah. You want to break that down, like what happened, if you can?
I don't want to talk too much about it, but what I will say is that a group of kids drove by throwing up gang signs. We started throwing up gang signs. You know, it was like 4 of us and maybe, I don't know, like 4 or 5 carloads of them. So they came around the corner. We kind of figured they were going to come back. So one of my homies, his sister lived on the corner, and he went and told his brother-in-law to go grab a gun because these dudes were coming back. Sure enough, they did. They came back, and there was probably like 20, I don't know, there was a grip of them. Damn. Came walking around the corner. My cousin was with me, and one of the other homies that just got out of prison was there, and they both just took off running. And I look at my other homie, and he's a big ass dude. He's like, I don't know, 6'3", he's you know, just a giant. Yeah. And I look at him, I'm like, man, what you want to do? I ain't trying to run. And so we ran up on him. And my thought process was, you know, if I run, they're gonna catch me eventually. And by then I'll probably be out of breath, and then they're gonna really put it on me. So I thought, like, I'm just gonna run up and get it what it is, you know what I mean? Like, jump me, but I'm gonna get mine in too. But it was kind of crazy because they all started running, You know, so they all took off running, got in their cars. When they ran, they threw a bottle at me. I picked it up. We kind of like ran at them. They got in their cars. I started hearing gunshots, but I didn't realize, I thought it was the homies shooting at them. I didn't realize they were shooting at me until it was too late, because I was, you know, running up on them. Yeah. They're getting in their cars. I went to hit the driver with that bottle they threw at me. And when I went to throw it, I noticed that they were shooting at me from a car going this way. Damn. And when I went to throw the bottle, this dude leaned over the windshield and started shooting at me. So I'm like, you know, duck, start running, you know. I almost got away, for real. You know, I ran all the way from the car all the way to the alley. Right as I dove, it hit me, went through my belt, came out my stomach, and it was a bad day for sure.
That's wild.
But like I said, I'm like, man, I told you, fool. I told you I was gonna die, this and that. And you know, my homie he picked me up. You're not shot, fool. You know, like I'm just a young 17-year-old kid. Like I said, he's a giant. Picked me up. Let's go. Boom! I just fell again. Like, man, I'm telling you, bro. And picked up my shirt and seen. I was like, oh man. So it was a bad time. But like I said, it just, you know, it was one of those things. You know, it made me worse at that time, but it also helped me become the person that I am too, you know, so.
Yeah. So did he just take you to the hospital, or?
No, man, it took the ambulance about 40, they called the police, of course. It took them about 45 minutes to get to us, which was crazy to me. I'm sitting there just like thinking like, man, they really gonna just let me die, you know?
Yeah, 45 minutes?
45 minutes,
imagine sitting.
Yeah, that was a long 45 minutes for sure. But, you know, luckily God had other plans, you know, and so I'm still here. And, you know, yes, that was a bad day, but, you know, it is what it is, you know, kind of, you know, what goes around comes around, I guess, you know.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you went to the hospital, probably got out, how long, like?
That time, I think I wasn't in there for too long, because I think I was only in there for like 3 days or something like that, 3 or 4 days.
And you said it kind of made it worse for a little while. What was, I feel like that type of situation would either do one of two things, either make you say, all right, I'm changing directions, I'm going a different path, like I'm gonna just turn my life around, or get worse. Did you think about like, man, I gotta get out of this, I gotta stop doing this, or like what made you like keep going down a worse path?
No, I mean, it made me go all in, you know what I mean? I was just like, I guess if anything, I would say that, you know, at that time I was full of anger, you know, and that just made it worse. You know, it just made it worse. And again, it's nothing that I'm proud of, but it's just that's what it was, man. You know, if I'm being honest, you know, I was full of anger. It made me worse, you know, made me want to just ride that much more. You know, me and my homies we were a tight clique of people, you know. So yeah, we did what we did, and I'm not proud of anything like that. Yeah. So, but it just was what it was, you know.
So when did Pure Devocion start? When, or was there a name before Pure Devocion? Like, when did the music? I know you brought up like 3rd, 4th grade Montbello. You were into hip hop, listening to Run DMC. But like, when did you start rapping?
So I learned how to rap and break dance and all that stuff back then. But when I became maybe about 13, probably 13, I would always freestyle about everything, you know, like just, I was always freestyling. It didn't matter what, you know, we walk into the store, you know, I'm rapping about going to the store, just, you know, like I rap so much that it was always everybody, my mom, everybody's like, shut up already, you know, everybody was, you know, shut up, like, but it's just something that I like to do. About 15 years old, me and my brother Vin, we decided that we wanted to try to record an album, and then we started actually writing songs, and that's when we really started becoming serious about trying to do that. Unfortunately, you know, there wasn't time for making music and gang banging, you know, so gang banging took priority over everything at that time. Unfortunately, my brother was, you know, murdered when he was 18. probably for the next 2 years. I think.
My condolences.
I think I was like maybe about 20. You know, I had got to like just rock bottom. I hit rock bottom. I was really really on that front line, just going in, and lost my brother. There came a point to where I got in a fight with my sister's boyfriend. You know, they were from California. You know, her dude and all his friends were from California, and we just didn't mix, and we got in a fight.
Kind of just beefing with
Well, yeah, you know, we were AKs, man, so we was like anybody kill us. So it was like we weren't like starting trouble, but we just wasn't gonna let you know, do anything. You know, you couldn't ask us where we were from or try to hit up gang signs, because we was gonna really press you, you know, on that issue. But anyway, so yeah, you know, I got in a fight with him, and my whole family was mad at me. It was just a big thing, man. Like, just it seemed like the whole world was just you know, against me at that point. You know, I kind of fell into a depression. You know, losing my brother and just all that stuff. I just looked in the mirror and I was just like, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, my mom, when I was born, she almost lost her life giving birth to me. You know, so that was one of the things that I thought about at that time. Like, my mom almost died giving birth to me. She didn't almost lose her life just for me to go out there and hurt other people and do all the stuff that I was doing. Right. You know, so I just really just started doing some soul searching, man, and realized that what I was doing was wrong, and that I had to make a change. So I basically I had a meeting at the cemetery where my brother was buried with all my OGs, and just basically told him, like, I'm done, man. Probably about a couple weeks before I had that meeting, I had got jumped really bad by a house full of people, and with baseball bats, and they really put it on me. Yeah, it was another really bad time. But after that happened, that's when I just kind of was like, man, what am I doing? Like, I'm out here, I'm gonna get killed, I'm gonna kill somebody, like something. It's just not gonna end well for me.
There's no positive path.
There's
conclusion, I should say.
Yeah, no, you know, so it was just like my anger is gonna be the death of me. So I had that meeting, told my brothers, like, man, I'm done with this shit. Like, if y'all want, if you want to see me, whatever, I don't want to go to the parties. You know what I mean? When you guys have meetings and you're going on missions or any of that, I don't want to know. I don't want to go. Like, don't call me when something happens, because I ain't with that no more. You know, beat me out, do whatever y'all got to do. And they were just like, man, we can't beat you out. You know what I mean? Like, you stuck with us. You know, that's fine. Do what you're going to do. But we respect you. We're going to give you a pass. Like, we can't do that to you. So I just told him, like, I'm gonna go work on my music, do what I gotta do, try to make my family proud, man, because right now I ain't making nobody proud.
That's real.
So I contacted Scratch G. So one of my other homies introduced me to Scratch, because he did an album with Scratch, and so that's how he introduced me to him. That actually, I met Scratch before that. I had met him when my brother was still alive. We went and did an album over there. We recorded one record over there. But we never did anything with it because we were too busy gangbanging. Right. So I knew Scratch's number and I started calling him, but he didn't really give me too much, you know, he was just like, man, yeah, he's like, man, y'all too out
wild.
there. Yeah, you too wild, man. Y'all ain't serious, this and that. I recorded an album, you didn't do nothing. But I bugged the shit out of him, really. I bugged him until he finally agreed to meet with me, and then that's kind of when I got in there, and the rest was history from there, you know. Right after recording that first album, we just hit the ground running.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but on the When I Roll, on that cover, is the other dude on the cover, is that your brother?
No,
is that someone else?
So I know you asked earlier about that. So like, me and my brother were the original Pure Devocion. Okay. So it was, you know, it's Kid G and Money Man. We didn't have the name Pure Devocion, but we were the original group. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. You see what I mean? But then he died, and then I was gonna, the original Pure Devocion, it was always Kid G. That was gonna be the album. Robert, you know, we had a fallout back then. I don't have no hard feelings now, you know. I mean, he was a good friend of mine. But, you know, what happened really was I had ran into him, And I was telling him, hey, I'm recording this album, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to record an album too. Basically told me that, you know, he'll have his dad pay for my album if I write a verse and put him on one of my songs. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I wrote that, I think it was Forever and a Day.
Okay.
So I wrote that verse for him. We did that song. And then after that studio session, I told Scratch, I'm like, I want to do another song talking about rolling through my neighborhood, like just mobbing around my hood or whatever. So he started making the beat, and then I started hearing that When I Roll, I Stroll Federal hook. And so I wrote the hook, and then homie was like, I actually got some verses already for this song. I'm like, well, let me hear it. And he showed it to me. I was like, yeah, it's pretty dope. And they were like, y'all should just be a group. And like, I'm like, yeah, I'm good with that. Cause I was always used to having my brother there with me anyway.
Yeah.
So we did it. Yeah. And that's kind of, Pure Devotion just kind of fell in place. And then as far as like, you know, Amber singing the hook, I had met her back in Arvada. So her cousin Boom, which I went to school with him, Vinny and Boom, they became friends. And so me and Boom obviously became friends too, because my brother. But we went to his house. He introduced me to Amber. She was singing. And I told her that day, like, if I ever make an album, I'm gonna bring you in and have you sing the hook.
Right.
And so like all those years later, when I did that, out of nowhere, I called and I'm like, hey, like, are you still down? She was like, yeah, absolutely. And so that's how she became a part of it. But yeah.
So talk about the time or the night when that song was recorded, and like the process behind it, from the beat to bringing Amber in to singing the hook, and just the whole. Did you guys realize like how special that track was going to be at the time, or were you kind of just having fun? Like, how was that?
Yeah, no, honestly, I didn't. Because I wasn't really, and this is what's funny, and that, you know, people don't realize this, but I wasn't really talking about cruising federal. I was talking about mobbing through my neighborhood with the homies, you know. So it kind of took on its own, you know, which is dope, you know, which is dope for real. But no, honestly, I wasn't really talking about. I mean, I was talking about, you know, I guess you could say I was talking about cruising, but I wasn't really talking about like, you know, a Sunday afternoon, everybody's, you know, blah, blah, blah. I was just talking about, yeah, like we're rolling through the hood, you know, hide the gun. We're smoking weed. Oh shit, there's the police, hide the gun, that type of stuff. Just like stuff that was going on in my life at that, you know, at that time or right before that. So.
And it kind of took on like a, I don't want to say PG, but kind of PG version.
Well, yeah, it just, you know, so, I mean, so that day I had Scratch make the beat. Homie had a couple verses. I went home, wrote the verse, contacted Amber. We did it. We recorded the song. We recorded the rest of the little EP. MC Clientele got us a show on the Lowrider magazine tour. So we opened up for Zapp and Roger and Kid Frost, and which was LOC actually. He was in the crowd at that time, and but. We did the show, and you know, nobody knew that I was even recording an album except the AKs, like my homies. Yeah. So like when I got up on stage, like I said, like, you know, everybody knew me from the streets way before the rap shit. So when I got on the stage and people were like, what is he doing up? You know, what is he doing? And so, you know, it was like, yeah, it was like overnight. I went from spray paint my name on walls to signing autographs, you know? So it was really like this overnight type stuff. And that song, When I Roll, you know, first they were playing, kind of what happened with the radio is MC Clientele got us on that show. Yeah. Well, he met me because he went to the Current Crew studio to do the commercial for that Lowrider show. So we did the Lowrider commercial for him. When he took the commercial to 92, I can't remember, Jammin' 92.1, I believe it was. But he took the commercial over there and gave him my CD. It was like, y'all need to listen to this. And they put it on like on a Slammer Jammin' or type of thing, and people said to jam it, and you know, probably like 2 months they still didn't play it, you know, and then out of nowhere they played it. But and then it was just they played Forever and a Day, and then Cinco de Mayo came up, they played When I Roll, and then it was just kind of over. It was just, yeah, it was just every 15 minutes When I Roll was just on the radio. It was crazy.
So what was that like, you know, seeing, was this the first song that you released? I know you said you already recorded music, but was that like the first big single you would say that you released?
No, well, we just did an EP. You know, I thought honestly, I thought it was going to be Forever and a Day. I thought that's the one I thought, you know.
You like that one?
I like that one. I thought it was good. but just people, because, you know, like I said, you know, I think that with the When I Roll,
maybe just connected more with people.
It connected with people because everybody was cruising Federal and doing that type of stuff. I wasn't the only one. It wasn't just me and my homies. I mean, it was like, honestly, before, it was actually 38th. We used to drive from 38th down to Chubby's in the north side and stuff like that. That was like the cruising thing. But Federal, you know, that was kind of going back from the west side up to the north side, you know, because you know, we were west siders, but we were always in the north side, you know, chasing girls or doing whatever we were doing. So we was constantly, back and forth. But yeah, it was just one of those things. I think it just connected with people more. And then it was catchy, you know, a lot of the girls were singing that When I Roll, I Show Federal. And, but it was dope, man. I mean, it was a time of my life that I'll never forget. Just driving around my hood, man, and just, you know, pulling up to a four-way stop and they're bumping my song and it's just like, they're driving by me having no idea that that's me, you know what I mean? Or whatever, or, you know, girls just pulling up on the side of us, you know, playing my song. It was just like, hey man, what y'all doing? That's a dope song. And then my homie would be like, that's him or whatever. You know, honestly, back then, that was like a lot of the homies' pickup line was like, hey, you ever heard of Pure Devocion? Come with us, let's go to party with them or whatever, so.
Did you, when was the moment you realized, was it the radio moment or was it after that? Was there any bigger moments that made you realize like that song was going to be huge, or what was that moment like? Because I feel like it's not easy to have a song stick like that, especially in the Denver hip hop scene. You know, we're constantly overlooked, especially from a national perspective. So for you to have a song that really sticks with people be clowning Colorado rappers, you know what I'm saying? So like for you to have a song that really sticks with people, like when was that moment you realized that, and you know, how did you take that all in? I know I'm asking a lot of the same questions in different ways, but I'm really wanting to hit home with that one because I feel like, you know, that's part of anyone who's into Denver, Colorado hip hop culture. Like, that's one of the greatest songs of all time. You know?
I appreciate that. Honestly, I never been the best rapper. You know, I never was the best looking or none of that type of stuff. I just think that, you know, it just, like I said, I think people just could relate to that. They could relate to cruising up Federal, and it didn't matter if you were from the west side or you from the north side or wherever you were from. People can just relate to that. And so I think that's definitely something that happened. People just, like I said, knew me. So, you know, and I was out there. I was really out there. You know, I was out there in them streets, really pushing it. I mean, I talked to everybody. It didn't matter who walked past me. Hey, what's up, man? You know, you listen to hip hop, blah, blah. Like, always had a backpack full of CDs. And I was just a hustler, bro, you know, and I know it's the same old story, just like everybody, but really, man, I just took what I learned from the streets marketing, and I just put it into the music, and I did exactly that, and it worked for me. I did have help though, you know, once it got on the radio, obviously with the being on the radio was dope. But even them, they would call me and ask me to meet in places. Hey, Kid G, meet us over here. We're going to be doing a live over here at Safeway on 23rd and Federal, you know, pull up. So I'd go meet them. They'd be like, we're standing here with Kid G from Pure Devocion. He got some CDs, like, y'all pull up and blah, blah, blah. So that helped me a lot. You know, that helped me a lot. But to answer your question, and I'll never forget the moment. The moment was Cinco de Mayo. Everybody was on Federal. And that year, it was just, I mean, packed. You can barely even move. And everybody,
like 93, 94?
No, it was 96. It was 96. And me and my cousin Raul, we were driving, and we're trying to get back to the west side. And I don't know, we were messing with some girls or something, I don't remember, but we were driving down Federal, and all these people were sitting out their cars. And normally that don't happen. Like, everybody be cruising, but nobody's sitting out their car. And so I was like, man, this is crazy, bro. Like, look at all these people. So I'm like, I'm just gonna sit on the door too, like everybody else. So I sat out the door, on the door, and like was kind of like leaning over the car. And you know, I was still always strapped. You know, I still have my gun. I have my gun right here in my hand between my lap. I'm like sitting on the car looking at everybody, and my song came on the radio, and just all up Federal and all down Federal, my song was playing in all these different cars in sync. That's all crazy. At once, you know what I mean? And I'm just like taking it in. I'm just looking around and I'm just like, damn, this is crazy. I'm like, cuz, you see it? And he's just like, bro, like we were just tripping like this. I couldn't believe it. That's when I really felt like, damn, bro, you did it, bro. Like you made your brother proud. Like this is, when you were talking about making your family proud, this is it. You did it, you know? And then all I heard was, get off that window, get in that car. I turned around, it was the police. I'm like, oh shit. Drop my gun on the seat and sit down. I'm like, sorry, officer. You know what I mean? And that's how that memory, I'll always remember that, because I was just like, oh shit, I almost went to jail. Yeah. Like I'm on the radio and I was about to take my ass to jail for having a gun. Right. Yeah. So to answer your question, yes and no. I tried. I was trying really hard. You know what I mean? But Denver, you know, it was still dangerous. You know what I mean? So I always still kept a gun on me because I already knew how it is.
Already got shot.
I already got a shot. You know, so I already knew. So I always kept a gun on me. But I guess I didn't have that anger with me. You know, like I wasn't trying to sweat people anymore. I wasn't throwing up gang signs. I was being cool, you know, with people, you know, which was different. But just because I gave up gangbanging and gave up the streets, that didn't mean the streets gave up me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So, you know, and it was kind of even harder for me because I no longer had 100 and something homies to have my back. I couldn't make a phone call and have 40 dudes pull up. Right. You know, so I was like pretty much by myself until I actually got with the Cutting Crew, and then we kind of became not a gang, but just a close group of homies. Yeah, we were a record label, you know. But yeah, so yes, I did try the best that I could to leave it. There was times when I ran across people, you know, and I got in a lot of fights, you know, even when I was in Cutting Crew. Yeah. But it just wasn't
the fame's coming, so now people get love, but probably haters too.
Exactly. I mean, me and LOC, me and him, man, we battle rap probably everybody, and you know, just because you know, everybody's hearing me on the radio, so everybody's like, hey, hear my song, listen to my song, listen to me rap, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, so they want to battle rap me, you know, like, oh, I'm rap against you. And so we rap, we battle rap like everywhere we went, we pretty much had to. But yeah, you know, I did the best that I could leaving the streets behind. At first it wasn't easy, but then I noticed it was like a change in people, you know what I mean? Like people that literally we had like, you know, problems. Yeah, we had problems with, like really, really, you know, like life and death type problems with. I'd run into them and all of a sudden it was like, hey man, I heard your album, bro. That's dope, man. That When I Roll, that's dope, homie, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, it's all good, dog. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was crazy, but I noticed it was a switch, man. Yeah. People you know, they respected. They knew I was a West Sider and they respected it. They didn't, I'll be in a party full of North Siders and they would all be showing me love. That's you know, so it was dope. And, you know, I wish that we could have, you know, because like now, you know, like North Side, West Side, like majority of all the OGs are all cool. I wish we could have figured it out back then, you know, but it was what it is, you know, so.
Yeah. I feel like that's just what comes with getting older too. You just kind of mature and. Yeah. So after the When I Roll, what was, you know, your next moves with as far as the music goes? I seen the Years of Tears project. I think that was 98.
Yep. 98.
So that was after When I Roll, right?
So that was after When I Roll. That was the second album that I did. By then, the first When I Roll, we had Robert and Amber on there. Yeah. You know, Robert, we had a fallout, I'll just say. You know, I ain't doing no interview or I'm not trying to do anything to hurt anybody, you know what I mean? Right. So, you know, at that time, was I upset with them? Absolutely. But that was then. And, you know, I'm a different person now. So, you know, I don't want to say anything negative. I'll just say that we had a fallout. But Pure Devocion, we already made that run, man. Everybody knew who it was. Right. I did the second album. He did an album too, which I thought was really dope. He did an album. I did an album.
In 06? Is that the other one you're talking about?
No. That was so we did the Years of Tears album. I'm just saying Robert did an album around that same time. Okay. But we did the Years of Tear Out. That was my follow up to the first album, and you know everything started picking up again. It was just like, you know, it's almost like we never left. But then unfortunately I got shot again. Not too long after that I got released, and that's kind of when my music career kind of came to an end at that time, because I had to learn how to walk and talk and all that stuff again. So it wasn't easy. I mean, I could walk, but I talk really slow. Like if I call LC, like, hey bro, like, what's going on? Like I just couldn't. I knew what I wanted to say, I just couldn't get it out, you know. So it took me a long time to get over that. But that's, to answer your question, that's what it was. So
when did that, like what year was that when that, or how old were you when the second time you got shot?
So the second time, so I released the Years of Tears at the end of, what was that?
98?
98.
Okay.
No, was it 98? At the end of 98.
Yeah.
And then I got shot in 99, like probably like in April or somewhere. I got, actually, because I talk about this in my book, which is how I know when I got shot. So the kids in Columbine, remember the Columbine shooting? Yeah. So I think that happened like on a Wednesday.
It was like April 20th, 99.
Something like that. So that happened. And then I think I was like Wednesday or Thursday. Anyway, I got shot that Friday night. So it was like a couple nights right after. In fact, if you ever seen that footage of that back then, there was a kid who had, I think he had like a white hat on, and he fell out of the window. Yeah, and it was all over the news that they kept showing that. Well, he was actually my roommate when I got shot. Damn. So we were roommates in the same room at Denver General. So that's how I always remember that it was right at that same time. I talk about that in my book too, because you know, obviously, you know, that was a big case, you know, with them getting shot, and that was a big deal, you know. I felt terrible.
Especially back then, school shootings didn't have them.
Yeah, that was like the first, that was unheard of, you know. Right. And as a matter of fact, I went to the studio and I remember hearing that, and they were like the trench coat mafia, and I'm like trench coat mafia? What's that? There ain't no gang called trench coat mafia. There ain't no gang out there in Littleton. Like, what are they talking about? Yeah. And then obviously the whole story came out. And I mean, I felt terrible for them kids, because I felt guilty, because I'm like, man, I'm over here, you know, running around all those years, putting in all that work and doing all this and that. And yeah, I got shot, but you know, I still kept, you know, I was wild and this and that. And these kids are just trying to go to school, innocent, man. Yeah. They're innocent. And for that to happen, so like, I was like, I felt terrible for them. I felt guilty. I felt some sort of way about it.
Yeah. How much did that weigh? And then we'll get into the.
No, go ahead.
How much did that weigh on the state at that time? You know, because it was just unheard of.
It was crazy, man. I mean, all of us. I think everybody was just like, we're almost like in shock. Like, what are you talking about? Like that. That's what happened.
It's West Metro Denver, so it's close.
You know, so yeah, it was a trip, man. But I just remember feeling just terrible for them kids. Little did I know, 2 days later, I was going to be laying right next to one of them, you know, with a bullet in my head. I had no idea, you know.
So you didn't talk to him or anything, but he was, or? Yeah,
I didn't talk to him, no, because I mean, we were both hurt, you know what I mean?
Did he end up surviving?
Yeah, I believe he survived. I'm almost positive he's alive. One thing I remember from that stay with us is that my dad was in there visiting with me. And was it Romanowski?
Bill
Romanowski and Rod Smith.
Yeah.
They went in there to go sign an autograph picture for old boy, right?
Oh.
And so they start to leave, and my dad's like, "Hey, you know, can't you sign something for my son? Like, you know, he got shot too." My dad don't realize, you know, exactly why they were there and this and that, but so. Romanowski was like, "Yeah, of course, sir," and introduced himself, was like real respectful with my dad and me. And he was like, "You know, sorry that you got hurt, you know, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'll be praying for you and this and that." And he told Rod, he's like, "Hey, you know, Rod Smith, like, come and sign something for me." He's like, "I ain't signing nothing for that fool." And just walked out. And I'm like, "Damn, that's messed up." Rod Smith, like, I'm a fan, but fuck you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Yeah. I'm a fan of his work, but as far as like the character that I met, I'm not a fan of Ross Smooth. Yeah, no, I'm not definitely not a fan of his.
I've met a couple rappers like that.
Yeah, you know, you're like, oh yeah, like I was a fan, bro. Like, yeah, man, like this is dope as Rod Smith. And then when he did that to me, I just remember just like, bro, you're whack, dog. You know what I mean?
Quick side note too, I went to it was like a mansion party at Rod Smith's house. This was when I first started Mile High Minute, and I think I messaged him about asking to do an interview or something, and he kind of was like, hell no. I don't know exactly what he said, but he pretty much was like, same energy, like, nah, I ain't doing nothing. Y'all were partying in my house. Like, he seemed kind of mad at me or something. I was like, all right, my bad. I didn't know, but.
Yeah, you know, it's all good. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's all good that, you know, it is what it is.
I got his jersey though. Shit.
You know, I had it, but I threw that shit in the trash.
I met a bunch of cool Broncos players though, other than that. But, But yeah, anyways, so that's crazy though. You were in the hospital with, how long were you in the hospital at that time? Was that one more serious?
It was more serious because I got hit in my head. But man, I think I was out in like 5 days. I think I was out like in 5 days. In fact, I think that I was like, probably like 2 weeks after that, I was already like out with LLC and them, like, you know, like I wasn't myself, but I was out, you know what I mean? Yeah. The hardest thing for me at that point was just the scar that I had on my head, because, you know, I'm out there, I'm, you know, doing all this stuff, I have to be around people, and I had that scar. It was like I was almost like ashamed that I had that scar. It took me a long time to get over that. It took me a long time to even fall asleep without being afraid that I wasn't gonna wake up, you know, because I get anxiety, like, man, what if I don't wake up, if I fall asleep, and this and that. So it was a long road. It was a really long road to get back to normal, which is my girl, Misty, my wife. You know, she's the one that kind of pulled me out of that whole depression, and she made me feel comfortable. You know, hey, it is what it is. You know, I mean, you got that scar, it's going to be there forever. That doesn't make you who you are. You make you, you know, and she really turned me around. And that was a turning point.
The right woman can do that for you.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm grateful that was, you know, that was, in my eyes, she's a blessing. You know, she's definitely a blessing. I believe that she was sent to me for a reason. And she's changed my whole life around, you know, so.
Can you talk about what happened with that shooting as far as what you remember?
Yeah, I mean, my album had just came out, and so we were gonna go promote my album, me and Scratch G actually, and he decided he couldn't go for whatever reason. I think he was sick or something like that. So I was with this other girl at that time, and I was fighting with her just to even go out. So I'm like, man, I'm already fine with her to even go out. Like, I'm not trying to go back home and deal with that. Like, so I went to my cousin's house, stopped at the liquor store, got a couple beers, and I was like, I'm just gonna drink a few beers and then I'm gonna go home. And my cousin was like, we're going down the street to this party, just go with us. And
parties always,
oh man, and I knew better, you know, and I didn't even want to go. I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna go with y'all, this and that. Anyway, decided to go. There's probably like 10, 15 carloads of us. I was the last car. We're all driving. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I later found out what happened. I basically did my own investigation to figure out what was going on. But basically, when we're driving down the street, when we're headed over there, there was some kids that got in an argument. A group of the kids got in their dark, I think it was a black Blazer, drove up the alley and shot at those kids, right? And take off up the alley. Here we come, 10, 15 cars deep in the front of the house. I'm the last car, and I'm in like a dark turquoise Blazer. Same kind of whip. Mm-hmm. And these kids come running out the house. They run right in front of my car. I see them. I don't know what's going on, so I'm not even really tripping. You know, they get in the whip or whatever. I'm not even paying attention. I think I might have been like, you know, what are you guys doing or whatever. I don't really remember too much about it. I just remember them running across the car.
It was different from the first time though? It wasn't like beef?
No, it was no beef. It had nothing to do with me at all. Yeah. I was just driving. I was the last car.
That's crazy. That's bad luck.
They jumped in a truck, and everybody's turning. We turn on to 37th, then everybody turns in the alley. I'm the last car. I turn on to whatever, not 37th. I can't remember. I think it was like 39th. I turn, and then as I turn in the alley, I seen some brake lights hit my rear view mirror on my door. So I look out the car and I see a truck stop behind me, and I just see somebody point a gun at me, and I'm like, does that fool have a gun? And boom, I got shot. And so it was just out of nowhere, just one bullet. They fired one bullet, hit me right in my head, and it changed my life forever.
And they just didn't even, they thought you were someone else?
They thought that I was the car that just shot at them going up the alley.
Oh, damn.
Because it was the same kind of car.
Yeah.
So they get shot at, that car comes up, we come driving, I'm in the same kind of car. You know, I'm sure in the alley, you can't tell what color it is or anything like that. Right. So when they ran past me, they're probably already seeing me like, oh, that's them right there. Already probably planning on what they're gonna do, but I had no idea what was even going on. So, you know, all I know is that I literally watched myself get shot through my mirror.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. It was really wild.
And did someone take you to the hospital, ambulance, or blackout?
I talk in detail about it in my book, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but yes, they did get me to the hospital. I'm very grateful for the girl who drove me to the hospital. That's another story in itself, because she didn't know where it was. And you know, I'm shot in my head trying to give her directions, and it was crazy, man. You know what I mean? I can only see, let's see here. I can only see out of this left side of my eye. The rest of my vision was gone. So I'm like, you know, trying to look around and trying to show her like, oh, you know, go go left or right or whatever.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it was wild. It was really wild. Just everything, the way it happened. Even just when I got to the hospital, I get out of the car and there's an ambulance driver out there. I'll never forget, he was smoking a cigarette. And I like walk over and I'm like, hey man, I just got shot. Like, I need some help. He's like, what you mean you got shot? And I was like, I just got shot in my head. And he's like, you didn't get shot, man. You must got hit with a rock or something. Let's come with me. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, I got shot. Like, I was driving, I got shot. And he takes me in there and he's like, we got another one that got shot in his head, like laughing. And then the nurse was like, oh yeah, we got another one of those, huh? And I'm like, man, I'm telling y'all, like, I'm about to fall over. Like, I'm shot. And I always felt bad because there was this dude, and he had a broken leg and he was on the bed, and I'm about to fall over. So I just, like, with all the little bit of energy that I have left, I just push this dude, just push him off of the bed, and like just fall on the bed. Like, I'm telling you, like, I'm shot. And of course the security, everybody's like, he just pushed this guy out the bed and blah blah blah, and all this commotion's going on. And the doctor comes up and he looks at my head. He's like, what are you doing? This kid has a bullet hole in his head. Like, what are you doing? And then everybody was like, and I remember just laying there just like, man, they're gonna let me die, man. Like, yeah, this is the one. This is this time. There's no coming back from a hole in your head, is what I was thinking. But again, you know, by the grace of God, he saved me. You know, he saved me. And, you know, at the time I didn't realize what it was for. But now I see that it was, you know, for me to be a father to my children. And, you know, so that's a whole other story. But yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Was the bullet in your head, or was it a graze? Or
no, it went in my head. Yeah, it went into my brain. They said it went in about probably like I think, like they said, like a half inch or something like that into my head. Damn. They were joking with my dad. They was like, yeah, your son got a thick skull, man, for him to stop that bullet. My dad was like, well, he drank all the milk all the time growing up, so that's probably why. But yeah, it was wild, man. It was scary. I didn't think I was gonna come back from that, but I'm grateful, and I feel very, very blessed. So yeah.
Were you like 20s at that time?
I was 24, I believe.
24?
Yeah, I was 24.
Yeah. So about 7 years in between both times. How did you feel after healing up after that? Like, I mean, you feel like God's watching over you or something, right? I mean,
you know,
I don't know if you were like religious or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't really believe in like a religion, but I am religious in the sense that I believe in God. You know, I believe in God. So I believe in Jesus Christ, you know, and in the Holy Spirit. So I definitely believe. I'm a believer, especially going through what I went through. There's no doubt in me, you know, and especially when I wrote my book, writing it all down, just going over my life and writing all these different stories down and everything that I went through, I seen a pattern, and that pattern was, he was always there with me. God was always there with me. The bad times, the good times. And so it definitely, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but it reassured me that, yeah, my belief in God is it's real and it's true. Like, I believe 100% that Jesus Christ was born and died for our sins. I believe that for real. When you asked about how I felt when after I started getting better and stuff like that, honestly, at the time, I didn't really know. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that
might have been
it was like, yeah, I'm thinking, hey man, they all that work you put in, you finally had to pay the price for it.
Like some karma or something.
It was karma. That's exactly what I felt like. Yeah. I felt like it was karma. I felt like it was somebody, but I don't want to say too much, but just I feel like it was something from my past that I did came back to me. Mm-hmm. So I started, and then I was in a weird place because, before that I was like, I felt like a star, you know what I mean? I'm out here on the streets, I'm on the radio, I was really making all this money, I was doing good, to nothing. My phone was like a hotline. I'm not lying. Like, my phone was just people constantly calling me, literally went silent overnight. It was just like, once I wasn't doing all this stuff for everybody, it got shut down,
As far as like, you just weren't responding, or like,
no, man, people just stopped. People just stopped hitting me up. There was a few people, Alice, Alice's always been in my corner. There's a few other people that were there for me, but the majority of people, all the people that were there with their hands out, were suddenly like, nope, I don't want nothing to do with you. So
like that might have scared them or something, you think? Or?
I don't know what it was. I didn't really think about it too much, but it did. I noticed that it happened because obviously my phone stopped ringing, and so I noticed that it happened. But I wasn't focused on that. I was focused on
healing up, probably.
I didn't know who it was. You know what I mean? So like,
that'd go mess your head up.
I'm telling you. So I mean, I'm trying to figure out who it was, and then I always had that in me. So like, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to handle business. Like, I don't know, like, I can't just, what are they gonna come at me again? So that's kind of my mentality. I started switching back to that old me. And so I'm trying to figure out what happened. So, I did basically my own investigation, found out who those kids were in that car that did the shooting, went knocking on one of their doors. And what was funny is that I actually met these little dudes like 2 weeks before that happened. And so when I'm knocking on his door, little man came out, like, his mom was like, what's going on? I'm like, I need to talk to your son. Come here, homie. And he came out crying, like he already knew what was going on. And I'm like, yeah, you know what's up? Like, I need to know, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, he told me exactly what happened. And then, I'm fighting with myself. I'm like, okay, because he didn't really know who those kids were. I still didn't know who it was. I'm fighting with myself. I'm trying to, at the time I really was like slipped back, like I'm trying to hurt somebody. Started just having that talk with God, help me, Jesus, like I'm slipping. I know I shouldn't be feeling this way, but I don't know how else to feel. So I literally went and talked to a priest, and I just talked to him like, man, this is how I'm feeling. These people hurt me. They took my, because at the time I'm like, my career's over. Yeah. I can't even barely talk right. Like, it's done. Like they took everything from me.
And you're just lucky to even be alive.
And I was lucky to be alive. And what he basically broke it down to me was like, which I did have a gun that day. I got shot. It was right under my leg. I just didn't, I was just like, oh, they got a gun. Quick. Boom, I got shot. But what he told me is like, if I would have seen them and I would have pulled out my gun and they shot at me and I shot back and I hurt one of them, then hey, that's self-defense. Like, but if I go after the fact, looking for people, and I go and do that, I'm no better than them.
Yeah, that's not self-defense.
I'm not no better than them.
Technically, yeah.
Right. So I had to do again some soul searching, and I just came to the conclusion, like, how can I expect God to forgive me if I can't forgive the people that hurt me, So I made the decision at that point just to let it be, man. It was hard for me to do, and I know some people out there probably saying, oh, blah, 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 this and that. But until you dealt with what I dealt with and went through what I went through, please don't try to judge me on what, the decision that I made. But it was the right choice.
That's probably a tougher decision to just forgive.
Right. And, it was harder.
Move on and, but that's the right decision in the end.
It's always harder to do the right thing.
Right.
It's easy not to care.
Right.
Like that's when I was gangbanging, I was doing all that, it was easy not to care. It was easy to go hurt somebody. It was hard to say, I don't want to do that no more. It was hard to face all my homies, like beat me out. I know there's a grippy, big ass dudes that can probably fucking kill me.
Yeah.
But it was hard. That's what was hard, to start becoming a man of my own and start doing for me and doing right by my family. But it was way more rewarding than all that other stuff, right? Okay,
so that happens, and then I think you drop a self-titled album in 2006.
Yeah, so I ended up, after that, I was down for probably like 3 years, just on my own head and my own way.
Yeah. Were you working or doing?
I wasn't doing. I was just being grimy, bro. I started falling back to to kind of my old ways, just doing all this nonsense, making money and just being stupid again. But then I met my girl, and you
didn't have kids at that time.
At that time, I didn't have any kids. But I met her, and she basically. She just won me over, bro. I mean, the night we met, we just talked literally all night. She was coming from a situation. I was coming from a bad situation. And really, I feel like if we were just two people that met at the right time, that just needed somebody, we both needed somebody. I was that person for her, and she was that person for me. And she was my voice of reason. She finally got me to feel comfortable, because I didn't want to work, because I'm like, man, I got this big old scar on my head, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a stripe, like a soldier, you know what I mean? And this type of stuff. But she made me feel comfortable in my own skin. We started a family. And that's kind of what happened when I went away. When I wasn't doing music all the time, I was pulling in every blessing that God was giving me, with my children, every moment that I got to go be at their games and their school plays and just all that. I was just enjoying life and every blessing, like I said, that God gave to me. But I always, she knew, I always was writing songs and just always talking to her about it. Like, man, I really wish I should have never walked away. I should have at least tried again. And she surprised me. She bought me a keyboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she bought me a Triton keyboard.
That's dope.
And I started making beats, and I started writing to those beats. And then I was like, you know what? I think I am, babe. Like, I think I'm gonna start recording these songs that I did. And just started recording them. Next thing I know, I had the album. It didn't do too well because I didn't promote it. I didn't really promote it at all. It had zero promotion, actually.
You just dropped it.
We just dropped it, and at that time things were changing, because everything started kind of going to online now, this and that. So CDs wasn't really doing too well. I didn't really know the new way of doing music at that point.
The Soldier Boy,
all that stuff, all that stuff. So that album,
flip phones, Nokia.
Yeah, so it didn't do too well. I thought there were some dope songs on there, but it just didn't do too well.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of was just like, let it be, and just started. I was still coaching, and I just lived the family life.
Yeah.
All the way up till now, when I decided to make another run at it.
That's dope. So it's funny that your girl bought you a keyboard, because I feel like nowadays girls, he's a rapper. They be clowning, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, when I tell you,
that's real of her to support your passion. And
when I tell you that she's a writer, that she's a blessing for me, bro. Like, she literally saved me, bro. She literally did.
That's dope.
I was in my own way, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't. I kept stumbling over my own foot. Everything I did, you know what I mean? When we first got together, they were trying to get me for a case, and they were talking about 16 years, this and that, and so I'm like, damn, I finally meet somebody. She's pregnant, and now I'm going to jail. Now I'm gonna have to pay for all the stuff that I did. Luckily, that never came. You know, they didn't have enough whatever to charge me with anything. You know, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. You know, but so that went away, and I never looked back to crime after that. I was like, I'm not messing this up. Yeah. And for her, she's like, if you want to be with me, because she's a woman, you know, she wasn't just a little girl. She's like, you want to be with me, you got to get a job. We got to get established. We got to do it the right way. You can't be out there doing all this grimy stuff that you're doing, making money. I get it that you're making money, but that's not the right way. So, you know, like I said, man, she's, you know, and we're still together, you know, 22 years. So, that's dope. You know, yeah, she did something right. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to do right by her. I'm trying to, you know, but she's my everything for sure. Okay. So yeah, over the last 10 years into now, if you want to talk about just like how you got back into releasing, I know you did that new video with Vic. Yeah. The When I Roll remix and stuff like that. What made you kind of get back into it and everything? So, you know, again, I've been just being a dad. I've been just cherishing every moment with my family. Over all these years, my girl, she's always known I've always been writing. I've been making beats all this time. I would sit down and go, because I have like a little studio at my house. I'd sit down, I'll go record, and I don't like recording my own self and this and that. And I was just like, maybe I'll do a song or two just to help promote the book. I was not gonna do like a whole album. I wasn't gonna do any of that. Yeah. But I talked to my homie Freddie K, so Freddie K, you know, he's actually the reason why this album is coming out. Because I had talked to him and he's like, brother, like just come over to my house. Like I got a studio, like I got you. And I'm like, oh, well, I just want to do like a song or something, maybe 2 songs. He's like, whatever you want to do, I got you. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went over there, I recorded 1 song. It was funny because I couldn't do it, man. I was off beat. I was like, this is crazy. Like, I guess I just don't got it anymore. I just can't do it. Yeah. Fred,
he takes some time off.
Yeah, you know, but he kept pushing me, bro. He was just like, man, you got this, kid G. Like, you're a legend, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is nothing to you, bro. Like, you got to just get out of your own head, bro. Like, just do it. And he literally convinced me that I could do it. We recorded that song again, came out, and then I owe him so much, bro, because not only did he record my whole album, he actually paid out of his own pocket for an engineer to come in and do all the engineering and mix and master all my stuff. And he just took, you know, and like, I'm like, dude, I gotta pay you somehow. Like, I don't want no money. We got to the end of the album. I'm like, I'm going to give you a percentage, bro. Like, you got to get something. You got to get something. I can't just let you just, you know. And he was like, I don't want nothing. And I'm like, dude, you got to get. He's like, I don't want nothing, bro. I don't want nothing. You know, he was there for me through that whole time too. He was one of the people that literally was by my side when I got shot and I went through all that. He moved my stuff, and he's just been a good dude to me over all the years. But Freddie K is definitely the reason why this album is coming out. He did everything for me, so I'm very grateful. Thank you, Freddie K, man. You're my brother, man. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you, and I hope that this album does well and makes you proud. So that's kind of what happened with that.
Now that you're, I suppose, re-entering into the scene and stuff, what are some of the differences you've noticed from like back in the 90s when you first started and, you know, to now, and with the scene as a whole, or I mean, even with your process and what you've experienced with the scene?
I mean, everything is different, you know, because it's all social media, it's all visuals. You know, I'm not comfortable being on camera. I'm not comfortable doing any of this stuff. I barely like taking photos and stuff.
That's why it took a while to get this interview.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, and you know, like I honestly, like, I never took photos.
I respect it though.
You know? Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I really never like taking photos or anything. I started taking photos because I realized I went to somebody's funeral and they barely had a few pictures of them. And then I started thinking like, man, my kids aren't gonna have any photos of me because I refuse to take pictures. So I started taking pictures for just my kids. And I still don't like the pictures. I'm like, I'm always, you know, But you know,
overanalyzing this.
Yeah, overanalyzing. But I realized that that's the way it is now. You know,
right. Yeah.
Working with Vic, you know, it was very helpful for me because he was talking to me about it, like, hey man, just ain't nobody care about that. Nobody care about that, bro. No, man, this looks good. And then he showed me, he's like, look, and I'm like, damn, bro, like you did make me look good. Like, how'd you do that, man? Like, you really good, dog. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was having him in my corner definitely helped me with that type of stuff. And I mean, we're doing it. We've been. I'm trying anyway. Yeah. I'm trying to just get out there more, let people know, hey man, you know, this is what's going on with me. I'm not planning on trying to be making a whole run and this and that. Right. But I just wanted to do an album now to where people, like all this technology that the kids have nowadays, like this is what I would sound like if I had this back then. This is me now. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
And then you recently did a show at Metro. I thought that was dope because, you know, it's a college, it's a school environment, and they allowed you to come in and, you know what I'm saying, do your thing. Yeah. What was that experience like? I seen, you know, because I go there, I seen some of your, like, flyers and stuff. I actually kept one.
Oh, nice.
I was like, that's dope. So talk about that a little bit.
You know, as far as shows,
and I know obviously you've been doing a bunch of the lowrider ones as well, but maybe you could just talk about both of those.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I did the Tivoli. I performed there a long time ago, and I liked that venue. Yeah. I did a show, which I'm really grateful to the Arapahoe Trews. They brought me on stage. That one too, yep. Yeah. So the Arapahoe Trews brought me on stage, and so I'm really grateful for that because I wasn't going to do any performances. I really wasn't. I was just going to do the music, but I had talked to them, and they were willing to put me on stage. So I'm like, all right, I'll go do a song, and I did that song, and it was almost just like whoop, all the way back to those years when me and LLC and all the crew were just doing all those shows. And I'm like, I got home and my girl, as soon as I got home, my girl was like, you got that bug again, didn't you? And I'm like, babe, I got to do another show. I got to set up a show. So, you know, me and my girl, we set up that show at the Tivoli and we did it. It was just all about showing love to the city and to the artist. I wish that there was a packed house from the time the doors open all the way to the end. It wasn't like that, but there was enough people that were there to support us, and it was fun. It was a good time. I enjoyed it, you know, and I only did it just to, like I said, just to show love. So I hope the people that were there enjoy themselves, and the artists that I put on stage, I hope they see what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to do anything but just to show love to people, which is why Mad Love Showcase, you know. So
that's dope. And then I gotta ask, obviously I dropped the list in August, the greatest Colorado rappers of all time, and I put you in at number 7 representing Cutting Crew as well. So before I ask, I wanted to explain because obviously there's a lot of confusion. Yeah. So I put Pure Devotion on there, but in my heart I also put Cutting Crew there as well because I know Cutting Crew was, you know, a group themselves, and then obviously there's a bunch of people within the label, but the reason I put y'all representing Cutting Crew in my opinion was I feel like y'all have had, and you know, you get mad at me if you want, it's my opinion, I feel like Pure Devotion has represented Cutting Crew to the fullest or biggest extent out of anyone out of, you know, Cutting Crew. Obviously respects to Scratch D and all, you know what I'm saying? But just the When I Roll song was so big that I felt like I had to. And this is our first time meeting, so you know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to be unbiased as well with that. And so just what was your opinion seeing that ranking and just the overall on the list and the talk in the town and stuff like that?
I mean, you know, the crew, you know, we had a good run. We really did. We had a good run. I think if you ask any of them, I mean, it's fair to say Pure Devotion, we really did it. We had you know, we got there, you know. Not to take away anything from anybody else, because like I said, I'm definitely not, even on the, like, I'm not one of the best rappers in Colorado. I'm not even that good of a rapper, honestly, you know what I'm saying? I think it's just more impact. I feel like what I'm saying is different than a lot of people. You know, the songs that I'm putting out there, especially this new album, like the songs that I'm doing, like I'm not talking about what everybody else is talking about. So it's just something new for people.
That's true.
You know, so it's just something different, should I say. It's something different. So you don't got to listen to, you know, that's what I try to tell my little homies, like, bro, like if you want to do music, like, I mean, how many people can somebody kill on a record? Like, you know, this and that, like, find your own lane, bro. Do something that just makes you stand out. So yeah, so that's kind of with the Cut and Crew thing. But as far as the list, bro, like, I honestly, like,
I ain't gonna get hurt.
No, I'm not even, no, for real. Like, honestly, like, it doesn't really matter to me what you or anybody has to say really about like whatever list they want to put me on. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there just like Pure Devotion, blah, 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 it's whack, blah, blah, blah. But they ain't never did what I did. You know what I mean? And it's easy to talk stuff when you're not sitting here with me. You know what I'm saying? So, no, so, but as far as like number 7 or whatever, it honestly, it doesn't really matter to me. I think that there's so many dope artists in Colorado that personally, I couldn't do that list. Just because there's so many dope artists. I mean, and I read the comments and I see everything that you went through. And, I mean, even like a lot of those dope artists that like some people were just like coming from the left field, but I mean, I mean for real. But I mean, there was, I mean. I can't even sit here and name all the good artists from Colorado. There's legends like Mike Nitty and Black Hole Posse and all them fools from the east side that were doing that. Man, I can't even, like, Let Loose and all them. Who's a BMW? Like, there was a lot of them dudes that were out there. For me, it wasn't like too much my scene because I was more in the west side. Like, I wasn't, you know. The biggest influence for me, and I don't even know if they're on that list because I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I've obviously watched it because I was on there. But for me, my biggest influence, artists from Colorado, who, like, for me, if I was to do a list, it would definitely be Deuce Mob. You know, Deuce Mob was the first album that I heard. You know, they're Chicanos. I'm like, oh man, like this is dope that they're doing it. It made me feel like I can do it. And then besides Deuce Mob, then it would be Scratch G with the Cut and Crew. You know, that would be my 2 biggest influences when it came to music. But all them dudes were dope. You know, I remember seeing Chauncey was one of the first rappers that I seen rapping downtown, and I was like, man, this dude is dope. Like, this is crazy. So, you know, I have respect for a lot of them. And then even just like all these new artists, bro, like they elevated this scene way high, bro. Like I can't even, there's too many names for me to even try to name. But there's so many dope artists from Denver right now. I think that like, this is the best that I've ever seen, really, of just all these kids that are just, I don't want to say kids, but just all these young homies that are just doing it, bro. Like I listen to some of these songs, I'm like, this is dope. Wow, this is hard, really hard, you know. And so I'm a fan. You know, I'm a fan of all these legends and up and coming artists for real. And I'm excited, and I just hope that they just keep striving and just keep doing what they're doing. Have fun with it. Don't take it too serious. You know what I'm saying? Just have fun with it and just be you, be great, and be grateful. You know what I mean? Be grateful for the people that support you. Be grateful for the people that hate you. You know what I mean? Because they're playing a role as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, they are playing a role for sure. They're playing a role for sure. But yeah, man, I think you know, as far as your list goes too, I think that, you know, it takes a lot for you to put yourself out there and do this. And one thing for sure, you got the city talking, bro. You got the city talking, and that's really that was the point. That's really the point. You know what I'm saying? And so whoever got their feelings hurt, I would just say, man, hey, get on your grind, get out there and do your thing, bro. You know what I mean? Give them a reason to put you on number 1. You know what I mean? 7, 11, whatever it is, bro. It doesn't really matter, man. You know, just be number 1 to you. You know what I mean? If you're number 1 to you, and then it's gonna show to other people. You know what I mean? So
Deuce Mob was definitely a name that people were commenting a lot. So I could have definitely put more research into them. I did look at their stuff, and that was the good thing about doing the list too, is I thought I knew a lot about the scene of rappers, but that even opened my eyes even more. I was like, oh, there's even more. So that was dope.
I mean, because look, I mean, think about it, bro. Like in the city, I mean, like all these different artists. I mean, and I know Creeper wasn't on that list. But I mean, this dude got billions of views, bro. Like, and I talked to him like, that's my little bro, and I'm like, dog, like, not just Colorado, bro, like in the world, bro. Like you're doing your thing, and he's from Colorado, bro. Like, you know, so and then Attack and like just all the homies, bro. Like, there's so many dope artists that are out here. I mean, Attack, I don't even, he has like 20 something albums, bro. Like there's just like, like I said, again, I could just sit here and name so many names of dope artists that just deserve everything, you know? And I hope that they do get everything that's coming to them. I really do. Right. There ain't no hating in me, bro. For real. Like I want everybody to shine.
I'm the same way.
So
I'll say, I mean, really the point of putting out putting out the list was just, you know, to get the city talking, to help the scene grow, make it fun. Like, you know, I just felt like it was a little too quiet. And then as far as, you know, the rankings and all, you know, I did hundreds of hours of research, and what I realized is the longer I went into it, I was like, it don't matter how many hours of research, this shit is still going to be an opinion. It's still going to be subjective. You're not going to get no list 100% accurate, right?
No. I mean, even even looking at it, and I seen how you structured it and all that, and I'm like, well, where's the radio category? I'll be way up there. No, I'm just joking. But,
no, for real,
but I mean, that's how people
20 categories at first. I'm like, I need to cut this down.
But I'm just making that point because I mean, that's what we can do. We can sit here and like, oh, I did this, or I could do this. I rocked all the shows, or whatever. You know what I mean? There's just no one's going to be fully happy. Just. I think the city should just be grateful that we have someone like you that's out here really putting it on for the city as well. You know what I mean? In a different way. You know what I mean? You're helping people shine. You're helping people get out there and do their thing. And, you know, again, you want to be number one? Get out there and become number one.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like the further you go back on the list, the more subjective it is. Yeah. Like, you know, tag team, Flowbots, I know Atlanta or Flowbots is alternate. Like, I get it, but like, they're so stamped. They
still did it, bro. They did it. They were on a major level. I mean, you know what I mean?
Trev signed to Cash Money, and then you go back to you, Lil Travieso. Like, there's like the further you go back, all right, maybe it's more debatable. Okay, maybe I could have put someone else on, or but it's never gonna be 100% right. And I do genuinely have like I love the scene, I love the music out here, and that was the whole point, really. It's like, and you know, that's all it was. So I just wanted your opinion on it. You know what I'm saying? I know probably a lot of your viewers, you know, might want to hear. You know, maybe they won't tune in unless they see that's your interview.
Hey, believe me, man, I have people call me, how you gonna be 7? How you gonna be 7? And I'm like, man, how you gonna be worrying about it? Like, don't even, who cares, bro? Like, just, you know, be grateful that I'm even on that list to be talking about. Be grateful that after all these years, somebody's still talking about me, that I'm even still relevant. You know, that's how I see it. Like, it is what it is, but like, I'm grateful you're getting people talking about me, if it's good or bad. It doesn't matter. I'm in their ear. You know what I mean? And then I start dropping all this new stuff, and they're like, oh, I didn't know he was coming out with another album. Well, you know, so
that's what it is. All right.
Just finished up the album. We're about to get that album out. That should be coming out real soon. We just did a video, Vic and I, with LOC, Brandy Cardenas, Tone Capone, and Slickback. So I just did the video to this new song called Fallen, which I have featured Zariah out of Houston on that song. It was produced by Don Major out of New Mexico. He's making some bang-ass beats, so if you guys want some good beats, man, make sure you go check out Don Major. But that's it as far as shows. Got a few things in the work. I haven't signed anything yet, but once I do, I'm gonna start promoting it. But yeah, man, that's it, man. And you know, I just want to thank you. I really want to thank you for sitting down with me and doing this interview with me. It's been a long time coming. You know, I should have did this a long time ago, and I know you've been trying to get me to do it for a long time. Thank you for being patient, man, but I really appreciate you. And I wish nothing but the best for you as well, bro.
No, I appreciate you for coming on the show. And, I know it took a minute, but I'm cool, man. Like, I knew it was going to happen at some point. And it's better to do it the right way rather than rushing it. And you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you for coming on. Make sure y'all hit that like button, comment down below, you know, the biggest gem y'all picked up from this interview. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button to stay notified when all latest news drops. And I think that's just about it, man. I appreciate you. Make sure y'all go follow Pure Devotion on everything.
I was just gonna say.
Kid G on everything. All links be in the description of this interview. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that. Follow Montbello on everything. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that. Links be in the description. Scissorhand, that's the...
Yep. TJ Scissorhand Design Studio over here off 104th, right off of I-25. You guys want the best haircut, make sure y'all come and check him out. And I know we're gonna start some controversy now just with saying that. So all you barbershops and stuff like that, make sure you reach out to him and tell him why you need to be getting interviewed, all right?
Yep, and shout out Vic Ewell's, man, Vic Carter.
Yep.
If you need your videography services
always
in the city, man, she'll drop a verse for you too, man. So
I'm telling you, I was just in the studio the other day. He's like, I got the studio right here. I got the video stuff right here. What you want to do? I'm like, all right, Vic. Yeah, no, it's all, you know, mad love to Vic. I'm telling you, I just said a post about this other day. Just, man, he's been coming through for me. I'm very grateful to have Vic in my corner. And yes, make sure you guys check him out.
Yes, sir. Mile Min, number one blog in the universe. We out.
We out.
Cool.
All right.
And then we